So, Sairam, we have the next chapter, which is central problems of an economy. You understood what is economy and all that, and now we have to discuss about the problems of economy. What are the problems any economy faces? Any economy, be it Indian economy, Chinese economy, capitalist economy, socialist economy, Bangladesh economy, any system or any geography faces certain problems. What are those problems? We will discuss that in today's class. So let us all read the first paragraph, introduction. As you are aware, we have multiple wants, correct? What are wants? You remember the difference between wants and
We have money and willingness to buy.
willingness to buy and ability to buy, isn't it? Difference between a desire and a want. Huh? You have money also. Okay, fine. So you have desire and you have want. Want, you have money and you have willingness to buy products. But there are many wants, means you have many choices before you. If you have 1000 rupees, you can go to a restaurant, have a Chinese food, North Indian food, South Indian food, chats, and within these there are many choices. So multiple choices, but wants are there which you desire. You want to eat chats also, panipuri also, Chinese, but you have only 1000. Okay, that is what? That is limited resources. You have limited resources, you have multiple wants, then what happens? Hmm?
The resources to fulfill them are not enough.
Resources to fulfill them are not enough, only limited. So you have to decide which goods to produce. You cannot say to a restaurant owner, I have 1000 rupees, so make everything one plate and bring it to me. It's not possible. 1000 rupees, you won't get everything, isn't it? So only limited goods. There are different goods and services that you can satisfy. You have hunger and you have you want to eat some food after a long time, some tasty food. So you have to choose now. So what happens? There is scarcity of resources, very limited money. Mute money. All of you, please mute your audio. Mute the audio. Okay. So there is scarcity. It will lead to scarcity. Scarcity means what? Lack of a particular resource or a commodity or a good. This is called scarcity. So there is a one peculiar problem that will arise because of this. Okay, I'll just show you with one simple graph. Okay, graph or not graph exactly. It is a visual representation. Okay. So I hope that I had shown you this in the last class. Do you remember? You remember I had shown you this. So what is it basically? See, there are basically these many wants that you have: food, clothing, shelter, cars, recreation, beach house. You go on and on. You keep adding. Within car also, you want some Audi. You want to buy some luxury car, Mercedes Benz. Many choices are there, but you have very limited resources. What are they? So these are all needs, which are food, shelter. These are all basic needs, and others are, you might classify it as wants. Means you can even live without them. You can live without buying a car or a beach house or etc. So many things. So they are unlimited, but very limited resources of capital or land or labor to produce these commodities. So what happens? Each of these resources, such as land, labor, has many uses. You remember that I had told you that one particular piece of land you can either uh, grow rice, wheat, paddy, vegetables, flowers. You have many choices to choose from. So many uses of the same resource. So it is even more complicated what to choose now. What will give me most satisfaction? Okay, so therefore there is a scarcity. Why? Because limited resources and unlimited wants, it will lead to scarcity. Now what is the problem of scarcity? Because now as a consumer you have to make a choice. There is a problem of what? Choice. Remember this always. Economics talks about choice making. Means when you have limited resources, what do you choose? What are the decisions that you take? Which resource to use and which resource not to use, and how to use these resources. This is a choice. This is the problem of economics. The whole subject of economics is actually dealing with this problem of
choice.
choice. How do we make best use of our limited resources? I'm earning 20,000. How can I be most happy in this 20,000 rupees? What all can I buy to make me very, very happy? Not just me. If you get married or if you have children, then you have other two people's wants and desires also. So, what are the many choices that you have that will make you happy? So, this is called problem of choice in economics. Okay, keep this in mind, and this is the background. Okay, now next we'll go deep into the central problems of the economy. Okay, what are central problems? Let's go down a little bit. So I told you that choice arises because the resources are scarce and they have alternative uses. So many alternative uses. This I just explained to you. Then what happens? There are something called central problems which will arise in the economy. Okay. There are three major problems. Problem of allocation of resources. Allocation of resources andre what do you mean by allocation of resources? Allocate. Have you heard this word allocate? What is the meaning of the word allocate?
Give something to
Very good.
person.
Very good. So allocate means just giving something. I have 10 chocolates. I'm allocating two each to some five people, two chocolates each. Allocating means distribution basically. Distributing to the people present or whatever, users. So problem of allocation of resources. How do you distribute? How do you utilize resources? Okay, you have distributed the resources, you are using the resources, but the future generation needs resources, right? So how do you grow these resources? These are the problems. And in economics, whenever they say the central problems of economics, you have the heading, right? The heading of the chapter is central problems of economics. Whenever they ask central problems, you are usually talking about allocation of resources. What goods to produce, how to produce them, and for whom to produce these goods. What, how, and for whom. Do you understand? What are the important words here? For whom to produce the goods, how to produce the goods, and what goods to produce. ಯಾವ ಸರಕು ಮತ್ತು ಸೇವೆಗಳನ್ನ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಯಾರಿಗಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಫಾರ್ ಹೂಮ್ ಟು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್, ಹೇಗೆ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ನಾವು ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಡೀಪ್ಲಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. What is the first one? What goods to produce? I told you that there are many choices of resources. You have 1 acre of land, whether the investment farmer every time has a choice. I mean, you go and talk to a farmer, he'll be thinking, okay, I can produce um, vegetables, or I can produce coriander leaves, or I can produce medicinal plants, or I can produce flowers in this particular soil or in this season. Okay, what do I choose? Which will give me the most satisfaction? So he makes a choice. So that is called what goods to produce, what goods and services to produce. This is a single farmer's case. ಒಬ್ಬ ರೈತ ಏನೋ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅವನ ಮುಂದೆ. ಒಂದು ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇವಾಗ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಇದೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಹಣ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ, ಬಡ್ಜೆಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್. ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಓಕೆ, ನಾವು ಯಾವುದರ ಮೇಲೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ತುಂಬಾ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಉದ್ಯೋಗ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಿರುದ್ಯೋಗ ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಹಣ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾ, ಅಥವಾ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ದುಡ್ಡು ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ, ಅಥವಾ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಲ್ದಿರಾ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಬೆಡ್ ನ ತಯಾರು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಬೆಡ್ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾ? See, government has many areas where they have to invest, where they have to spend. How will the government choose what goods to produce? How will an individual think what goods to produce? See, that is what it is. Okay, what goods to produce. Next is what, how the goods and services shall be produced. Means what? How will you produce? You go to agarbatti industries, for example, or clothing industries, silk weaving and all, you will see Dharmavaram silk in Andhra Pradesh is very famous, Kanchi and Mysore silk sarees. So previously they used to use more and more labor. Okay, it was called labor intensive. What is it? Labor intensive means more and more people are used to produce commodity. More and more people, less machines. Nowadays you have more and more machines available in the market. So a producer has to decide, okay, do I employ 10 people to work on this, or do I just buy some machine instead of replace these 10 people? Do you understand? So the choice between the labor and capital, that is what is how the goods and services shall be produced. Say, for example, you are a farmer of 1 acre of land, okay, and you have a choice to what do you call, use
Tractor.
a tractor, or even while harvesting, for example, or ragi or wheat. For everything, the machines have come now for harvesting. So you can use people to cut the harvest, or you can use machines. So the choice of how you will produce these goods and services, or even sowing for that matter. In foreign countries like America, there are huge machines which will sow the seeds continuously. You must have seen some of them on Facebook or in YouTube. Okay. So I will show you those videos if possible, maybe in the next class. So there are machines which will increase the pace, but they are very costly. Labor is cheap. ಮನುಷ್ಯರಿಗೆ ಏನೋ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ₹100 ಕೊಟ್ರೆ, ₹300 ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಮಷೀನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ₹1000 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಹೇಗೆ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಮಷೀನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಥವಾ ಕೂಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋರ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? How goods and services shall be produced. Okay. Next is for whom to produce. For whom means what? See, there are poor people, there are middle class people, there are rich people in the economy, isn't it? People have different demands. So you ask Gnanish, so what do you want? You might say, I'll ask my father for a phone. Which phone do you want? Which phone do you like, by the way? Apple. Oh, iPhone. So Kirtan. So, Redmi. See, Kirtan is very rooted. So Gnanesh is a rich guy. So Gnanesh will ask for Apple iPhone. Of course, good quality phone. MI is reasonable quality. but comparatively economical. So another student will choose MI phone. Now, a producer has to think whether he has to produce Apple-like phones. Means the quality of Apple, which is a high, very high priced, around 70,000, 80,000 per phone, 80,000, 90,000, or a MI phone which is 15,000, 15 to 20, you get an MI phone, decent phone. So the choice, see, there are two different markets. People who own iPhone are of a different economic category, and people who own MI are from maybe from different economic category. Okay, for whom means are you producing goods for satisfying everyone? If you want to satisfy everyone's needs, you have to produce max. What do you call? Encourage micromax phones and give to everyone, every citizen in India. Or you want to only satisfy some people's. Apple, everybody doesn't own Apple, but Apple is one of the most richest company, mobile company in the world. Market capitalization goes into thousands of crores. But how many customers have Apple phone? Very, very few customers compared to other phones, isn't it? So whether you will produce for those people who can afford to pay more price, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಹಣ ಕೊಡುವಂಥವ್ರಿಗೆ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಥವಾ ಬಡವರಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಒಬ್ಬ ರೈತ ಆದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಗುಲಾಬಿ ಹೂವು ಅದು ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೂಜೆಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾರನ್ನ ಸಾಹುಕಾರರು ಅವರು ಇವರು ವ್ಯಾಲೆಂಟೈನ್ಸ್ ಡೇ ದಿನ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಅಥವಾ ತರಕಾರಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬೆಳಿತೀರಾ, ಧಾನ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬೆಳಿತೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಅದು ರೈತ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಬೆಳಿಬೇಕು ನಾನು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ವೆದರ್ ಯು ಗ್ರೋ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ರಿಚ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್, ಮಿಡಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿ, ಆರ್ ಅ ಪೋರ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫಾರ್ whom to produce. Do you understand? So there are different categories. If see Swami decided to make the education free of cost. Okay. So accordingly, infrastructure also, you will not have a swimming pool, horse riding, all this luxury, two people, one room, cots. All these are not possible. Why? Because Swami is aiming for giving good quality education to most of the, as much as possible, poor people and middle class. If rich people want to study, so they have other choices. So for whom money is Swami is investing, Swami is making a choice for whom to produce. Do you understand? It's a very easy concept. So let us just revise once more. What is the problem of allocation of resources? There are three fundamental problems. ಮೂಲಭೂತವಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಮೂರು ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳಿದಾವೆ. ಏನು? ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಯಾವ ವಸ್ತುವನ್ನು ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ವಾಟ್ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಮೆಷಿನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ, ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ, ಯಾರಿಗಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಬಡವರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ ಅಥವಾ ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ, ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರಿಗಾಗಿ ಸರಕು ಇದನ್ನ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ?
Poor people, poor.
Central problems that any economy faces. Okay? Anybody has doubt? Any doubt?
No, no.
Any doubts? Okay.
No, no.
Huh.
No.
Okay, fine. So when they ask you name three central problems of an economy, what will you write?
What goods and services?
What goods and services to produce? How to produce?
For whom?
For whom to produce? Very good. So why does economic problems arise? Give one reason they are asking. What will you say? Or why do you think that economic problems will arise?
Wants. So desires.
Unlimited desires and wants
With the
limited resources. Each of them have alternative uses. So problem of choice will arise. Okay. So this is one reason, two reasons, three reasons you have now. Okay. So next is what? Resource allocation in a capitalist economy. So how do you allocate resources in a capitalist system? What is a capitalist economy? Just for your recollection. Chappu Gnanish. Okay, read and tell at least.
We invest money to
Not we invest money. I'm asking about capitalist economy. Capitalist economy is what? It's an economic system. I told you last class.
economic
Socialist
system.
economy.
They own resources.
Who they? Don't say randomly they. Who are they?
Individual.
Private individuals or organizations. Factors of production are privately owned, and goods and services are produced with a
Less involvement of government.
least interference of government with the objective. What is the purpose? To earn maximum profit. See, if they ask you in the examination what is very important. That's why, what is capitalist economy? Here you have. Okay. This is a definition I want you to write. Capitalist economy is an economic system in which factors of production are privately owned, goods and services are produced for what? Maximum profits. Okay. This is capitalist economy. Government interference is very less. Isn't it? Huh? So who? Production is in the hands of whom? The decision? Individuals. Farmers, manufacturers. Okay, these are all private individuals, not the government. All private people. They control the resources. They own the resources. And they only get the profit. So they work very, very hard to produce best possible commodity, goods and services for what? Most profit. Okay. So how is resources allocated in capitalist economy? Means how are resources distributed in an economy where private individuals are the owners of resources? How do they distribute resources? How? Through market mechanism, isn't it? Market mechanism means what? There, the government will not decide. Who will decide? Market will decide. Say, for example, I have a piece of land in Mudinahalli. Swami has said in another 10 years, 15 years, this will become a very popular place, tourist destination. Many people will, it will become a spiritual destination. Say you bought a piece of land now. So now there might not be people to buy. But tomorrow, after 10 years, the market, there are buyers of land in the market, land values will go up because everybody wants to buy a land and either start a hotel or build houses or apartments or whatever. That time you can sell your land at a higher price. Who is deciding now? Individual decides through market. Means in Chikkabadapur, if you want to sell a piece of land, you will go for what is market price. Means how much are people willing to pay for this particular piece of land. So prices, so resources will be distributed on the basis of market system according to the prices fixed by decided by producers and consumers together. Producer will say, no, 1 square feet is 10,000 rupees. You will say, Bangalore only it is not 10,000. You are selling this Chikkabadapur land for 10,000. Why should I buy? You will not buy. So producer has to reduce his price. So producer and consumer both together actually decide. Isn't it? That's how you run. You go to a market, that's how you pay. You go to a vegetable market, tomatoes, most of the places pay kg of tomato, they will say 15 rupees, 20 rupees. This is the standard price everybody is selling. It's a market price. So resources are distributed how? ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಹಂಚ್ತಾರೆ? ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಟಿನ ಮೂಲಕ. ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಹಂಚ್ತಾರೆ? ಗ್ರಾಹಕರು ಮತ್ತು ಉತ್ಪಾದಕರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಮಾರಾಟ ಮಾಡುವಂತವರು ಬೆಲೆಯನ್ನು ನಿರ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ಬೆಲೆಯನ್ನ ಅವಲಂಬಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಬೆಲೆಯ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲಗಳನ್ನ ಹಂಚ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಸೊ what are the characteristics of capitalist economic system? Okay, only those goods are consumed by what consumers want. Do you remember I told you consumer is a king? Where? Consumer is a king where? Ganesh, come on.
Capitalistic.
In capitalist economy, consumer is a king. What does it mean? What does it mean, Kirtan? Consumer is a king ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅರ್ಥ? ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ somebody?
You can buy whatever you want. It depends on the consumer if that good is.
Very good. So you can buy whatever you want. That is one thing. And second thing, the decision to produce the goods actually depends on the consumer. If he doesn't like the product, then those goods will not be sold in the market, it will not be produced. Consumers will take the decision whether to buy the goods. So consumer is the king. If consumer doesn't buy, who will produce that good? Isn't it? If everybody stops eating rice, what will happen? People will not be encouraged to produce rice because nobody is buying rice. So consumer is the king. Then maximum quantity of goods are produced at minimum cost per unit. What does it mean? Maximum quantity of goods. ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಖರ್ಚಾದ್ರೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ. Produce more commodities, goods and services at least cost. Why? Because you want to make profit. So many of the people pay less salaries. They buy cheaper raw materials. So they try to reduce wastage of resources so that they can buy more profit. Produce maximum goods at less cost per unit. Per unit means per goods, per commodity. Okay? Goods and services are produced for everyone who can pay for them. So any consumer who can afford to pay, so goods and services are actually produced for them. Means if the capacity of the market, there are some, in certain village, there are 4,000 middle class families or upper middle class who can buy iPhone, 4,000 iPhones will be produced. It's all based on price, isn't it? So resources are allocated how? ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಹಂಚ್ತಾರೆ? ಗ್ರಾಹಕನ ಒಂದು ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ, based on consumer's choice, based on the price that a consumer is willing to pay, and increasing the profit and reducing the cost. So capitalist means all these things he will think. How can I make more money? How can I satisfy the consumer? Consumer is a king. If he is satisfied, I can make more money. He'll buy the products from me only. So like this, a capitalist or a businessman thinks and produces goods or sells the resources. Okay? So this is what? Resource allocation in capitalist economy. Okay. How does resource allocation happen in planned economic system? What is planned economic system? Do you remember from last class?
5-year plan.
Somebody, 5-year plans, very good. So planned economy, I told you about 5-year plans. Okay, in which economic system it is adopted? 5-year plans ಯಾವ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಡು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? Socialist economy. Very good. So you can observe 5-year plans in socialist economy. Very good. So we are learning basically about socialist economy only. When they say planned economic system, they are actually referring to socialist economy. where goods and services are owned by the government and produced by the government. Okay, so this we will discuss in next class. And revise. See, why will I say revise? Every day you have to invest time, little bit of time in recalling. It is observed world over. They have done research. Psychologists, they are called cognitive scientists. Those people who study brain. They say, okay, what is
Saramana.
the character of those intelligent
Hi-
students who get good grades?
Hello, Saramana.
Okay, what is the common quality of
Hello,
all of them? They have done a study. And what is the most
hello,
effective technique that they use? They have done a study. You know what is it?
Saramana.
Sairam?
Cheating.
Anna, can you send this textbook PDF, Anna?
Yes, yes. I'll post in both high school and Vidya Kendra group. Okay?
Okay, Anna.
Okay, fine, fine. What is the most effective technique to recall? Do you know?
Concentration.
Not. It's not concentration,
Interest.
not interest also. What is the most effective thing? Do you know what it is? They named it. They named it as active recall. See, it is called active recall. What is it?
Active.
Active recall. What is active recall? Do you know? You have studied something today. For example, in the last class, you studied about resources, um, types of economy, which is capitalist economy, socialist economy, developed economy, developing economy, difference between growth and development. You have studied all this. Today, that is the next day, and after that, like that, you should leave gap and you should try to recall. Recall means revise. How do you revise? He said active recall through questions. You should put yourself question, or you should refer to question bank without looking at textbook. Take a question bank and try to either write down or try to think of the answer, proper answer for it. That recollection is difficult. You cannot remember, you're trying, it's so difficult. That process will actually strengthen the learning. Just like you go to a gym, isn't it? You want a big bicep, you want a good this thing muscles, you go and lift weights, people are struggling there. That struggle will give good biceps or good muscles, isn't it? So same concept is seen even in this also. The struggling to remember, struggling to think how it is you want to be useful. Okay, what is the relationship between this and that? What is development? What is a word for this? I'm not getting a proper word. Trying to remember this is called active recall. This is the most effective technique. You keep doing this every day. You keep revising what you learned in second chapter. Okay, what is that? What is that? Right. Then you refer textbook. Only after you try to recall, you refer textbook. Again, next day, third day, again try to put question for yourself, try to remember. So that is called active recall. That is how you are going to learn the best.